I would like you to fasten your seatbelts because we are about to take off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board. It's K Global, everything aviation.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm K Global. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the international and national bodies in the aviation industry. But before I continue, make sure you click the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you won't miss future videos. Let's ride in. The international bodies in the aviation industry are basically two. There could be other, but these are the two major ones. We have first the International Civil Aviation Organization. Guess what? Let me explain this to you. You know FIFA, if you're a football lover. FIFA, which is like the number one or the number one regulator and organizer of football all over the world. And they host a tournament, which is the World Cup, the biggest tournament in football. So just liken FIFA to ICAO. So what ICAO does is, ICAO are like the biggest regulators all over the world. They control everybody. And there are countries who are ratified into the ICAO annexes. So annexes are like the laws. They just give you the laws. They give you the templates that every country should abide with. So indirectly, the ICAO gives you the minimum standard every country should work with in aviation. If you are not a member state of the ICAO, what it means is that civil aviation or civil aircraft can't fly in or out of your country, which indirectly means civil aviation does not operate in your country. So the way you know UN, the way you know FIFA, ICAO is like the UN and the FIFA of aviation. I think that is like the simplest way I can break it down for you. So, like I said earlier, they set the minimum standard. So, as a nation, you can actually adopt that minimum standard or go above that minimum standard. In Nigeria anyways, we are at ICAO standard. So this is another reason to tell you why you should not be scared flying in Nigeria, because we actually regulated by an international body. So it is not like the usual Nigerian system where corruption, politics, and a lot of interference would, make it a substandard industry. Actually, aviation is one of the most regulated industries in the world, probably next to medicine or even more. It's arguable. So the second body, international body in the aviation industry, is IATA, International Air Transport Association. This body actually promotes cooperation between airlines all over the world. It helps build safety. It helps talk about standard and efficiency in their practice. So it also helps with economic negotiation. When we say cooperation, we're talking about money, service, and okay, let me give you an example. For example, if you are flying from, let's say, Nigeria to a country in Europe, sometimes you have layovers, stopovers. Just because of IATA, it's possible because there are now corporations between various airlines. So the national bodies in aviation. Yes, the number one national body in aviation. Actually, before I would even say this, every country has a national, every country has their national bodies. And there is one that is common amongst different countries. Every country has a civil aviation authority, which is regulated by ICAO, which I mentioned earlier, that is the International Civil Aviation Organization. So they are like submitting to ICAO standard. But I also mentioned earlier that as a nation, you can improve your standard. And who does that? The Civil Aviation Authority of that particular country can take a step ahead and say, okay, I want to take my standard even higher than ICAO. So for Nigeria, we have the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. If you go to other countries, that you can have the UKCAA, that's the UK Civil Aviation Authority. You have different civil aviation authority of different countries. Most times the prefix is just the name of the country, then Civil Aviation Authority, except the United States. Always different anyways. United States, they call theirs FAA, and Federal Aviation Authority. I don't know why, but it's the United States. So back to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority actually are the regulators of the Nigerian civil aviation. So they make the laws, they regulate, they enforce the law, they also inspect, they ensure airworthiness of aircraft, they make sure the standard is not compromised. Basically, they are like the police, they are like the attorneys, they are like the police, they are like the judge, and they are just everywhere when it comes to regulating the aviation industry. In fact, they give licenses also to professionals in the industry. So they just don't regulate airlines, enforce laws, and ensure standard, inspect the airworthiness of an aircraft. They also give licenses like to your pilots, they give licenses to the engineers, they give licenses to the cabin crews, they give license to a lot of professionals in the industry. So which means that every nation, every professional in every nation has a license, and the license is given by the Civil Aviation Authority of that nation. So that's why you would see a pilot from Ghana is licensed but by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Likewise also in Nigeria. So that's the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. The second national body we have in Nigeria is NAMA, that's the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. Basically, they control the airspace in the country. Nothing flies without them. So what do they really do? They actually give air navigation service. So they provide the air navigation service. In fact, they are the only ones who provide air navigation service in the country. They are the ones who control the airspace for efficient air travels and safe air travels. That is the job of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agencies. And in these agencies where you find the air traffic controllers, the aeronautical information scientists, and so on. Okay, the third national body in the aviation industry in Nigeria, it's the FAN. That's the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. I'm pretty sure this is the most known national body in the country. Everybody seems to know FAN. FAN, basically, to my way of explaining it, FAN are like the landlord of aviation in Nigeria. So they are the landlords. So because in Nigeria you don't have any private owned airport, so the airports, the commercial airports in Nigeria are managed by the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. The fourth national body in the aviation industry in Nigeria is the NSIB, formerly called AIB, that's Accident Investigation Bureau. Now they are called Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. So they actually conduct and carry out objective and thorough investigations of accidents and incidents in Nigeria. Actually, there's a difference between accidents and incidents. Most times in the aviation sector, we have more of incidences. Then accidents are like the extreme or the compilation of many incidents, which, e.g., a crash is an accident. But incidents like you ski the wrong way, tire burst, those are incidents. And the NSIB are the ones who take thorough investigations so that they will be able to promote safety in the aviation industry.
K Global, everything aviation.